Many people are aware nowadays that there are a lot of environmental problems in the world and a lot of social problems, and just in general there are a lot of issues and even the big corporations and the big institutions, the UN, the World Economic Forum, all these big government and non-government organizations, even them they are also promoting the idea that there are a lot of problems in the world nowadays that need a solution, that need some kind of great rethinking of our society. Now, I have thought a lot about this in my life, especially the environmental problems. And I have many times asked myself the question, what if I had only one one answer, if I had to pinpoint one thing, one element that should be the root of all these problems, the reason why we have so many problems. If you could name one thing that is responsible for the huge problems that we have in the world, that when changed would do the most positive effect on society, humanity and the planet. So if you could name one thing that is the reason for all the mess we are in, what would it be? So, and you can pause the video now and we can do this kind of polling, maybe can do a poll and see what people come up with. So I hope you thought about something and wrote it in the comments. Anyways, I will, when I think about this, I always think about one thing that is most damaging to our society, and this is the TV. And the TV, in my eyes, has evolved into a whole range of different medias, mass media, the cell phone, alternative media, internet. All these things combined are the TV nowadays. And I think the most damage that was ever done to this planet and to this human species and to all the species on this planet is the TV and subsequently the mass media industry. And for me, it is quite irrelevant who is controlling the TV or who is generating all this media. The source of the ideas promoted in mass media is not so much of importance. Like imagine if you have a huge thunderstorm, a huge typhoon, or imagine you have this cyclone, the hurricane that ravages the countryside and destroys one village after the other. If you are aware of the problem that there's a hurricane in the area, you go to your shelter and you try to protect yourself from it. And in this circumstance, it is not quite relevant where the hurricane comes from and what caused the hurricane. Most important thing is to seek shelter and survive the hurricane and do some damage control, And the second most important thing, if you are living in an area that has hurricanes frequently, you build your house accordingly. You build it strong, you don't build it out of plywood plates, but you would rather try to build it out of stone, maybe, a stronger material. Anyways, or you could also think about the idea that you wouldn't build a house at all, like imagine, the tribes living in North America before it was colonized. They were semi-nomadic in many cases and didn't even build houses but lived in tents, and therefore they would be much less affected by huge catastrophes like hurricanes. But this is just an example, and with this example I want to show you that the reason why it is happening or who is behind it is actually not so important, because once you identify the problem, you can take measures against this problem, and you can protect yourself from the influence of this damaging effect, and you will be fine, I guess. So yeah, why is the TV such a big problem? I think the TV has sucked the life force out of this planet and out of the people, because it is like it has put the people into an hypnotic trance. And when you think that the TV and it's just education and information and entertainment and, you know, some advertisement for products, you know, you're wrong. I think the TV was conceived as a means of propaganda, you know, and the people who were behind the idea of public relations and propaganda are the same people who are behind the concept of mind manipulation, you know, of psychology, of mind control, you know, of controlling what the desires of the people, you know, and directing them. And, you know, these people are even related, you know, like the person who wrote the book Propaganda, with which he basically invented the concept of public relations and advertisement. This person was called Edward Bernays. And if I'm not mistaken, his nephew was Sigmund Freud, who popularized the idea of psychology, psychoanalysis, and, you know, psychological illnesses, and basically psychological manipulation in general. So these people are like related, you know, they're not only associated, but they are family members. So psychoanalysis, psychological manipulation, and mass media stem from the same root, and they are the same thing. I think in the mass media there is no such thing as entertainment. There is no such thing as no propaganda. Everything is propaganda in my eyes, and and as this propaganda has some kind, like, you have to think it this way: every newsreel, every movie that you see, every advertisement, every piece of media, there's a person behind it who has in his mind a certain message that he wants to convey, and he thinks in his mind that there's something wrong with you or with any other person. Either you're not buying what he wants to sell, or you have ideas and a lifestyle that he deems obsolete, old-fashioned, bad in any way, and he wants to modify that lifestyle that you have, the ideas that you have, the emotions that you have towards certain things. He wants to modify that and mold your mind into a new shape. And if you don't believe me, then you just go to any university, to any social studies class, to any psychology class, to any film class, you know. Any director of a movie, of a film, of an advertisement will admit that he wants to mold your mind in a way. He wants to make you think. He wants to change your attitude towards certain things. He wants to awaken your mind towards certain realities. He wants to change your consciousness. Now, you have to think about it. I mean, with which right does one person put himself in the position to change the minds of many, many other people without him even knowing them in person, or without even, you know, he just assumes that these people think in a certain way that is bad in his opinion, and he wants to change this thinking. But he doesn't even know what these people think. He just assumes that they think a certain thing. He wants to mold and change society at large. And you could argue that I want to do the same thing, you know, because I'm putting out videos as well. But I don't know, you know, if I'm actually in the same position as a filmmaker. When it comes to private bloggers and, you know, people like me, I actually wonder in what position I am in this whole game. But getting back to the point, any influence that is exerted on a massive scale that comes from a single source will be damaging to the subjects, you know, because I think in nature things are very decentralized, you know, everything, every tree, every animal, every plant, every bug, every bacteria, they act on their own and they're all part of the same environment, which is neutral. There is not one thing in this environment that wants to favor the one or the other. It's just a huge complex system that is in general non-judgmental and neutral towards the people living in it. You know, there's no manipulation taking place. The individuals, the organisms can develop according to their natural instincts and the natural laws. But here we have human beings who basically change the natural laws. They want to create the laws, they want to write the laws themselves and put these laws onto other people. And this can only damage the society at large, you know, because it is an imaginary thing. It is always an imaginary thing. Any idea, any ideology that you have in your mind is something imaginary. It's not real. It's just a logic that you have, but it's not real. And since, I think especially since the development of the TV, the society has become more and more unnatural. And because this unnatural state of being created many problems in society, this favored the mechanical and technological solution of these problems. And therefore, the human species and life on this planet is becoming more and more artificial and more governed by machines. I mean, you can just take a simple example. There's a person and she wants to plant some onions, you know, and she doesn't know how to do that. And then she would rather consult the computer screen instead of just asking the neighbor who has planted onions many times before. And with this example, you see how people are becoming cyborgs. They become connected to the machine in such a way that they cannot live without it anymore. And I think all this development has become possible only through TV because, as I said, the psychoanalytic methods used in advertisement and propaganda have put the humans into a hypnotic trance and have enticed them to do things that they would never do without the influence of TV, you know. People nowadays don't even know how to live self-sufficient and natural anymore. They don't know anything about themselves. They are in a constantly changing bubble of informations and ideologies and ideas and completely disconnected from reality. And this is what is destroying our planet at large, and it is destroying our whole society. It has basically destroyed the idea, the ability of the people to connect to each other and exchange on a natural level, because it has become much worse with the emergence of the internet, because now people live in bubbles of information so different that they cannot coexist and exchange informations naturally anymore. I have noticed that with my family, you know, you can only communicate with people now who are in a similar bubble as you, who receive similar informations, who have similar sources of information than you. People who have other sources of information, you're not able to talk to them anymore. You have lost the ability to talk to them. And even though they are from your same ethnic group, from the same cultural background, they speak the same language, but they receive information so diametrically opposed to your information and speaking a completely different language than the language that you know, that is used in your sources of information. Even though it is the same dialect, the same language at large, it has a certain other terminology, political, scientific terminology, and therefore you are unable to connect and to exchange ideas with these people. And this is a new state of existence, and it is all connected to mass media, to the TV, to the internet, and especially with the Web 2.0, with social media, Facebook, YouTube, with all these things, the awareness of the people is more and more sapped. You know, the attention of the people is sapped by a machine and is used by a machine. It has become, your attention has become a resource in the system that is harvested by the system. And you as biological entities have been incapacitated of connecting with your biological peers and constructing your own society, you know, and forming your own society, finding your own decisions. The whole decision-making process in policy and, you know, in the media, you have no influence over that anymore, and you cannot form alternative options because everybody is basically trapped in this bubble of information, and therefore, to a certain extent, mind controlled, you know. So mind control is not something that is, you know, some kind of beam or some kind of hypnotic gaze that is put, you know, that is directed at you, like, you know, it's not the Gorgon's gaze that that will turn you into stone and unable to act. It is the screen, the TV screen, that has basically taken over reality, and people nowadays will rather trust what is said on a TV screen than what is said by a person, by a real person in their surroundings, you know, like they will rather trust what they see on the screen than what they see around themselves, you know. If you think that it is important to have a democratic control over your situation, you must reject mass media and TV. Because mass media and TV and radio is completely out of the reach of your democratic control. It is directed by global corporate entities, and the interests of these global corporate entities are at the core of what you see on TV. And the great deception that people fall for is that you can be smart and you can be, you know, you can be resistant to propaganda. You can watch TV without being influenced, you know. You are smart. You see the lies, you see the techniques that they use, the rhetoric, the framing. You can identify that and you can filter out the real information. But I think you can't, because the manipulation techniques are very subtle, and nowadays it is so subtle that the obvious things are already placed there for you to see. So they have put basically mental traps there for you to see and avoid. But behind that first mental trap, there are several other more subtle traps that you will then fall into. And the conclusion that you are most likely to draw from any media is exactly what this media is designed to produce in you, the idea, you know. So sometimes in media you can identify as propaganda, and you know, you judge it in a certain way, and this exact judgment that you give, even though you identified, or like, especially because you identified this as propaganda. This can be the intention of that type of media without you even noticing. So it's very, it is basically a fractal structure, and it's done very intelligently, and it's nowadays even done with algorithms, and it is so complex that you are unable to see through that. And I was very surprised, or not really surprised. I was just astonished when I saw this documentary about these Orthodox Jews in Jerusalem, who live in Jerusalem, and they showed some images of their, the quarter where they live, the Orthodox part of the city, and there was this sign at the wall which said, "We don't destroy families. Here there's no TV or internet or anything like that." And this is absolutely true. I mean, I would, if I was in control of the the government, the policy of the place where I live, I would put up plaques like this as well, because I think that the TV, the advertisement, the media, the movies is what is at the absolute core of all the social family problems that we have in our society. All the inabilities of finding a real partner, of forming long-lasting bonds, of having children and having a peaceful family, like all the divorces that are taking place, and all the hassle, all the arguments, all the problems, the fighting in the family is caused by the TV and by mass media. Because mass media foments separation of the peoples, of the people, of the individuals. It produces individuals unable to connect with other people, because a single individual is much more profitable than a society, than a family, because a family can help each other out with many things. You can just ask your brother, what about that? You don't need to buy that book. You don't need to consult that article on the internet where some advertisement flows. When you click on an article because you have some problem, somebody gains money from that click, from that video view, whatever. But if you are in your family and you ask if you have some, personal problems, you ask your grandmother, I have this problem, what do you think about it? In my days it was similar, I had this also, and I solved it this way, and everything came out fine. Thank you for the advice. A couple of weeks later you go back to your grandmother, you say, your advice helped me a lot, thank you so much. Everything turned out fine, it was just a fear that I have, and you helped me overcome it. Things like this. Mental issues, physical things, how to build this, how to build that, how to do this, how to do that. You ask your family, your friends, you ask the people in your social group. You help each other out, and it's completely free, and nobody can earn money from it. And the state of loneliness and the state of depression is very profitable, because advertisers know that consumption of articles, of products, has antidepressant effects. If you're depressed and you go to a clothing store and you are forced to compare different clothes, compare the price, you look at the colors, you look at the cut, and your mind is now occupied, and it is now, your attention is diverted from your own predicament, from your loneliness, from your sadness, and it is now directed at something in the outside, and there's a practical thing, a practical problem that you have to solve, and this has an antidepressant effect. You could just as well make a basket. You could go out in nature if you're lonely and depressed. You just go into nature, you collect some branches of willow or hazel, and you make a basket. And this is used in Germany in this huge thing of ergotherapy, where children are therapied from their mental issues, from their autism and all the stuff, you know, their social problems, their anxieties. They get a therapy in which they have to do practical things. They have to do sports. They have to, you know, weave baskets, and this has a alleviating effect on your mind. But this is not promoted. You know, normally, what is promoted to overcome your problems is to consume products, and this is how the whole industry works nowadays, because there's really no need for any more products. People already have everything, so new incentives have to be created all the time, and the economy works like that. Now back to the point. I totally agree with these Orthodox Jews that the TV destroys the family. It destroys the social bonds between the people, you know. Kudos to them. They figured it out. They're very smart, apparently. Now, in our society, whatever comes from religious fanatics or, you know, extreme religious groups is deemed bad, you know. You know what? Fanatic Islamists do this? You cannot do that, you know. Like Islamic people, they have strict family roles where the woman is at home cooking and cleaning and the man is doing business outside. That's what Islamic people do. You cannot do that. If you're not religious, you're not allowed to do that. You know, people think that as an atheist or as a non-religious person, or like a person who is not in a defined religion like Christianity, Judaism or Islam, they cannot do the things that are promoted in these religious systems because they don't belong to this religion. No, you can't do that. Many things that these people do are just natural, and they just claim the right. Like they claim that this is only, you know, this is why they have to be religious to be morally correct, you know, to help out your family, to help out other people, to be compassionate, to have altruism. This is why you need the religion. I think you can do all these positive things without the religion, and you can also refuse watching TV without being a religious Orthodox guy, you know. It has nothing to do with religion, you know. You don't need a religion to know that sticking a knife to your heart is bad for your health, you know. I don't need to be a religious fanatic to know that. I don't need to be a religious guy to know that jumping into a bath full of acid, you know, high % acid, will kill me, will dissolve my body, and I will be dead if I do that. It's a very painful death. If you think you can switch on the TV and watch that and filter out positive information for you, I think you are wrong. I think this is a similar thinking as if you would say, I can jump into molten lead, but I will be fine, you know. I can do it. I will jump. There's like a big basin, 100 meters, you know, an Olympic swimming pool full of molten lead. And you think you can jump in there, swim to the other side and get out again? I don't think so. You will be dead. And this is an extreme example. We could also take something less damaging, you know, just imagine there's like a basin full of water, but the water is poisoned with some kind of substance. It will not kill you immediately, but it will definitely affect your health. And, you know, let's say the water is radiated, or, you know, there's some kind of poisoning that doesn't kill you immediately, but it just damages your lungs and your brain, whatever. It makes you sick. I think this is more how the TV works. You can switch it on, but it will make you sick. It will definitely make you sick. This is what it is designed to do, and it doesn't matter how smart you are. And I say that because I have experienced in my life people who are very intelligent, who are super intelligent, university degree doctors of philosophy, and by watching TV they became completely brainwashed. And I have seen other people who are not so smart, who stayed, a little bit more rational and stable, and I think this is because you need a certain intelligence to understand a certain propaganda, to be able to be a recipient of that propaganda, the propaganda is directed at people who are intelligent, and I would even go so far as to suggest that the propaganda is designed to get rid of intelligence, and many people have uttered this concern and this idea that there is a deliberate dumbing down of society. And if we assume that mass media is either deliberately or unconsciously dumbing down society, then this makes absolute sense, that intelligent people are becoming stupid by watching that. And therefore, especially if you are intelligent, especially then you should not watch that, Through manipulative psychological techniques, the TV has created a false sense of reality in all the people of the world, basically. It has created false expectations and, false ideas of many aspects of life in the people. And as I said, it's not just a coincidence. It is based on techniques of psychological manipulation that were invented by psychoanalysis. This is why you will find any savage tribe on the world and you give them a TV, and it will result in these people spending most of their time in front of this TV because they are hypnotized. They are defenseless against the propaganda techniques used in this media. And they will neglect whatever they did before, they will neglect it. They will stop doing what they used to do to sustain their lives and to sustain the community. And the community will be destroyed. They will get sick and they will dissolve themselves as a community because of the TV. And this has happened on the entire globe, because mass media spans the entire globe. Mass media has destroyed all culture on the entire globe and replaced that with a culture industry that makes money and that you have to purchase. Natural culture, food, dance, clothing, music, rituals, festivities, and many, many more things that are natural to a group of people, to a nation, to an ethnic group, has been destroyed by mass media. And you have to understand the extreme damaging effect. The health has been destroyed by mass media. So many people are trapped in dietary science, in experimenting with their diet all the time, and this has destroyed their health, because every national group, every ethnic group has different dietary customs, and these are based on their distinctive metabolism that they have. And this all has been plunged into chaos by mass media, by the hypnotic trance that is emitted by mass media, that is exerted by mass media, that is used by mass media to gain your attention. Mass media has found a way to hijack your attention. That is what it wants to do. And with scientific methods, they have discovered how to gain your attention. And it doesn't matter if what they did was intentional or not. The result is that the intention of the human species is now sucked up, stolen. And it made all humans neglect their real life and it leads to all the kind of destruction that you see in the world nowadays. I think this is at the root of it, because people are just asleep. They are under a spell, under a magic spell that makes them neglect the actual sustainable natural life that they used to have. And yeah, I think this is why the mass media, the TV, is at the core of probably 98% of all problems that we have nowadays. We learned in school that the government of the Third Reich has gleichgeschaltet, equalized the mass media in Germany at the time to make every single piece of media follow the same line of the state. What we have now on the globe is that the media has gleichgeschaltet all the nations of the world. The media itself has equalized all life on this globe, basically. It's a little bit of a conversion, of an inversion of what happened in the Third Reich. And if you find it lamentable that the Third Reich has made every newspaper follow the same line, you can find that bad thing if you're a reader of newspapers. Maybe you get bored by reading the same stuff in every newspaper, but fine. I find it much more lamentable that the media has equalized all nations of the world and made them all the same. It doesn't matter to which country you go. You switch on the radio, you will hear mostly the same music, and you will see in the people mostly the same kind of lifestyle. There are no more fundamental differences between any people, any nation in the world nowadays, and it's all done by the media. So, to make a long story short, I want to live in a community with people who don't watch TV, who have children, because children make life worthwhile. Children are the best thing in life. If it wasn't so, no life would exist on this planet. If children were not the most beautiful thing that you can have in life, you would not exist. You look at this bird. If in the life of this bird there would be something better than reproducing itself, this species of birds would not exist, because the bird would do that other thing all the time. So there's nothing better than having children. It's very fun, it's awesome, it's amazing, it's exciting. It's better than climbing Mount Everest. It's better than discovering the Amazonian jungle. It's better than being the best League of Legends player in the world. It's better than being the best Formula 1 driver in the world. It's better than designing the greatest spaceship in the world. It's better than having the most money in the world. It's better than being the most healthy person in the world. It's better than being the most happy person in the world. It's better than being the most beautiful person in the world. Having children is the joker, the bonus, the life for everybody, Imagine you are the most sick and most stupid person in the world. You're really not that smart, and you are poor. But when you have a child, you are happy. You will be fine. This is why many poor people have a lot of children, because, they don't care, and it's the best thing you can do, and it's just the natural cause of action, and it's the natural result of certain actions that they do. And it's awesome, and they do it, and especially in Western countries where you even get paid for having children. So anyways, when you live in a community and you have kids and you're fine, you have a nice relationship with them, it's fun, it's awesome, you do, things with them, you walk with them around, you play with them, you teach them stuff, and it's all nice and fine. Then you send them to school. But they don't watch TV in your house, because you spend a lot of time with them. You don't have time to watch TV with them. you want to spend your time with them, you know, not the TV. You want to keep the TV out of the equation. You want to live with your children, with your family, not with imaginary people on a screen. So you have this nice and beautiful surrounding at home where you actually do something with your children and with your family, and then you send your kids to school. But there, the school children are all hypnotized by the media. They live in the media. They have a bad family life, and where everybody lives in a different type of media. The brother plays video games all day. The father watches political videos all day. The mother watches, makeup videos all day, or, gardening videos. Everybody lives in his own bubble, and there's no family life. People don't communicate enough with each other. So the child from that household will then in school talk with the other children about things on the media, about what they watched there. And your child, who does not participate in this mass media, will feel like an outsider. So the problem is, if you teach your child, or if you raise your child without TV, like religious people, like the Amish people, like the Jewish Orthodox people, you have the problem that you have no society. You will be a complete outsider. So what we need to do is not to form a new religious group, but at least to form a society, a village, or a community where this value is one of the basic principles, that you refrain as much as possible from the use of internet and TV and radio, and therefore appreciate more the real world around you locally, and have a healthier relationship with your family, your friends, your neighbors, and the entire community. You have an actual community life. Therefore, you need like-minded families in this community who do that, who reject the mass media to a certain extent. It is not easy to completely abstain from all media, but one should reduce the consumption of media to an amount as little as possible. And once you have a community like that, you can send your kids to school. They won't feel like an outsider, and the natural and healthy lifestyle that they have at home will also likely be at school. They will be less susceptible to, this attention syndrome, the autism, the ADHS, or how it is called. They will not be so agitated. They will be more calm. They will be easier on the teacher. The teacher will not have that many problems with these kids. They will be much more calm and healthy in general, and much more happy. And they will not feel the need to also watch TV because other children in the classroom don't watch TV also, and they can communicate on the same level. They're basically part of a similar group. So, and they are not susceptible to being encapsulated into these media bubbles. They live in the same world, which is the real world. To make an even longer story even shorter, I have started an initiative where I want to animate people, inspire people to move to the countryside, where I live, where it is very cheap to get houses and a little bit of property, where you can have some ducks and some goats and some chickens, and live a more natural, more traditional lifestyle, where the majority of your everyday time is used in doing things outside, repairing your fences, feeding your animals, cutting wood, building a shed or a barn, doing this kind of stuff, with as little technology as possible, with as much participation of your family as possible, and with as much communication and communal common life with your own family, basically. So I want to inspire people to move here, to live a similar lifestyle. And since there are very few children here, and I'm in a very very difficult situation. Once my daughter turns 6 years or 7 years, she has to go to school, and I have to send her probably 5 to 15 kilometers away to go to school, depending on the circumstances then, because schools are closing down. And if I send her that far away to school, she will be together with also other children who came from very far away and accumulate in this central school somewhere, and they will not be able to even play with these kids after school. They will be completely isolated wherever they live, and they will spend a lot of time of the day traveling from and to school and spending time in school. And in the context of what I said before, they will all live in bubbles, and they will all talk mostly about the media they consume, and they will their relationships will be in WhatsApp, in Facebook, in social media. They will not have a real social life together in the same village. So this is why I want to inspire other families who have multiple children to move to my village, and so that we can reopen the school there and send our kids to that school and be sure that they will not feel as outsiders, because they will all be from a similar family that refuses or rejects the mass media as much as possible. And yeah, because the main inspiration for this school project comes from my experiences with people who live an alternative lifestyle, and I don't mean only hippie leftist people who live on the vegan whatever. Like I talk to many alternative people in my life, to from all political directions, from the right wing to the left wing, to all kinds of ideologies, and most of these people have the same problem, that they send their kids to school, and these kids then are drawn into this system that we live in, and into this media system, and this creates a lot of conflict between them and their parents and their peers at school, because a child needs a surrounding. A child needs to be accepted. No child wants to be a loner, an outsider, wants to be rejected by the other children. But as I tried to explain before, maybe it was a little bit too complex, but the media creates differences between the people, artificial differences, and creates loneliness and bubbles. And a person who doesn't consume media will even less be able to communicate with other people, with other children. So it's a huge problem. If you want to avoid the negative influence of mass media on your child, you will have a hard time, because at school your child will be drawn and sucked into that, because your child wants to communicate with other children. She wants, or he or she wants to play with other children. It's such a powerful natural instinct that she wants to play with these other children. But then she or he has to participate in the same activities. She has to consume similar medias to be able to talk and play with these other people. And this is the big problem of living an alternative lifestyle in any direction. It is the school system, because it works if you're completely alone, you live this hermit lifestyle somewhere in the woods. But if you want to actually have a family and have a social life, then you fall into this trap. Your children, you will have conflicts with your children, and this spoils everything. So what we need is not a sect, not a new religion or a new fanatic ideology or whatever. We just need a sufficient number of families with several children, so we can reopen the school and we can have a school where, for example, cell phones are not allowed, you know, and where the children who go home, they don't watch TV all night. They do things outside, and even better, they do it together. We all live in the same village. It's harvesting time. Well, after school, let's all go on the field and help with the harvest, you know. It's going to be a huge fun, you know. If everybody participates, it's going to be done quickly, and it's going to be a fun thing, and it will connect us with the earth, you know. And it will form a strong bond in the community. And yeah, so how to do that? How can I inspire people? I said the properties are cheap here, so if you have some money, you can easily find something here. But on the other hand, some people don't have any money, so I actually started the idea that we should just collect some donations, you know, from my viewers. You just donate like 10 euros on average, you know. It doesn't matter how much you donate, but I expect that on average it would be maybe 10 euros that we get per supporter. And if we get a certain number of supporters, we can already start, you know, buying cheap properties. And then the next important aspect is, you know, people worry about work. You know, what will I do there? How will I survive? How will I work? Well, in Germany we have a social benefit system, and you can just rent this house from me, you know, and you will get the money from the state, and you will be alimentated by the state for a certain number of years, or like for a year or whatever, you know, as long as you wish. In this region, these people don't really care, you know, at the office there, at the administration. They don't care how long you get this money, because there's not much jobs here anyways. But what I expect from this commotion to happen is that you will find work, you know, because actually labor is needed, you know. Everybody needs help somewhere, somehow, you know. Everybody needs a gardener or whoever. There is work, but it's not very obvious. It's not easy to find quickly, you know. You need some time to get into it, and then you will find work. But you should not do it like this. You should not go, and this is a big misconception that people have. You should not go where you have work. You should go where you want to go and find work there. And I think it's possible, you know. It's very possible, because work creates itself. Once a sufficient number of people move to an area, there will be so much work for everybody, because, you know, that's life, you know. You need to work to stay alive. That's how it is, you know. And you will find work eventually. But so you should not be disincentivized just by the prospect of not finding work immediately. Just apply for the state money, you will get it. And it's even better, because with the state money, with the rent that you pay, we can increase the amount of money we have per month that comes in, and we can buy farmland, we can buy another house even more quickly, you know. So if multiple families participate and move here and pay the rent initially, then we can expand and really do something, you know. So this is the idea. Eventually we can also incentivize people to get more kids, you know, because people are afraid of having kids nowadays. And we can say that, you know, for every child that you get 20% of your property for free. So with 5 children, you will have your house for free, and you won't have to pay rent anymore, you know. So things like that. I think we can be quite liberal in this sense, and you know, it can be easily to revive these abandoned and dying communities that we have in this area, you know, and revive them with healthy people who live locally and who don't live in media bubbles, who don't drive kilometers away to school. We can actually have a local life, and we are actually doing what the media and the world is promoting right now. You know, this healthy, natural, sustainable lifestyle is promoted everywhere, and we can just do it. But I think the difference is we don't need new technologies for this. We just need people. We just need healthy people, and we need less technology for the sustainable lifestyle. You know, the sustainable lifestyle is nothing that has to be invented with new technologies and solar panels and wind wheels and you know, blockchains and you know, smartphones and global connections and drones and 5G. You know, I think all this is completely unnecessary for leading a traditional sustainable lifestyle. What you need is actual people, and what you need is to spend time with these people and to actually form a working and functioning and sustainable community. So if you're interested in supporting this project, so if you want to move here with your family, or if you want to, you know, participate and donate some money monthly to see this project grow and expand and to see if actually something can grow out of this, you're welcome. And you have to send an email to this address, and yeah, maybe we can do something and we can escape the maelstrom media.